Hello everyone, welcome to Green.io, the podcast for doers making our digital world greener, one bite at a time. I'm your host, Gaël Duez, and I invite you to meet a wide range of guests working in the tech industry to help you better understand and make sense of its sustainability issues and find inspiration to positively impact our digital world. If you like the podcast, please rate it on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite platform to spread the word to more responsible technologists like you. And now, enjoy the show. Hello everyone! In this episode, we go to Nantes, or Paris. Well, I don't know actually. With remote work, it's sometimes hard to know where people are based. So let's say we go to France, for the sake of simplicity. Actually, it's still a quite exotic destination for a lot of our listeners. And today I have the pleasure to speak to Lucile Vannier. Well, where to start from with someone as active as Lucille? She's one of the strongest voices in the French IT sector for gender equality. She is also the Strategy Deputy Director of the Institute for Sustainable IT, which is the academic body spearheading most of the research in France on digital sustainability. And she is also neck deep into green IT being the voice for digital sustainability inside the BPC bank, the seventh largest European bank. And before that, she had an impeccable track record managing projects in big financial institutions. And actually, this is one of the reasons I wanted to have her on the show. We tend to mix a lot tech and tech. We focus a lot on the digital tech sector with shiny, pure players, companies where the product is a digital product, where the CIO is often a CTO. But the majority of people working in IT work in non-tech companies or public services, where they provide essential enablers but not the core product or service being sold. Most of the time, they have the very same hard and soft skills as people working for a digital tech company, but they do not face the same challenges at all. And financial institutions, with all their rules, size-related issues, historical layers of complexity, are a great place to start. And Lucille is a great guest to start with. Now, full disclosure number one, I also had the pleasure to host Lucille on stage in the API Days conference. It was December 15th in Paris. She has talked in the sustainability track, which I had the pleasure to facilitate this year, and I strongly suggest you to watch the recording of a presentation. And full disclosure number two, since I posted about my struggle not reaching gender parity in this podcast this year, but it will be achieved next year, no worries, Lucille has connected me with at least a dozen of French female experts I reckon. Because my message resonated with her conviction, but also because that's the way she is, Lucille, a natural-born giver, thriving to make people collaborate and connect to greener tech world. So welcome, Lucille. I'm delighted to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Gaël. I can complete.
Yeah, absolutely. What did I miss in your
Yes.
bio?
So I complete with personal story. So I don't sleep much. I like do yoga and body combat, but unfortunately I haven't done any sports for a few months due to a semi-torn anterior cruciate ligament.
Ouch.
Yes, yes. I like trekking, surfing, and eating good food and drink good wine with my family and my friends. I like to go to the cinema, and by the way, I really recommend the last movies I seen, The Innocent by Louis Garrel, The Little Nicholas. I will say in English, but the famous sentence in French. What are we waiting for in order to be happy?
Yeah,
Qu'est-ce
that's a
qu'on
good
attend pour être
question.
heureux? Because it's a French song, and by Amandine Fredon et Benjamin Massouvre, and Goliath by Frédéric Tellier. And it's quite funny because all the three films are French, but I like a different kind of movie and not only French movie. And the last one isn't very happy, and it's about an investigation into pesticides. I don't know pesticides or pesticides, sorry. And it is inspired by Monsanto Papers and Monsanto files, and involving the herbicide glyphosate. I also read a lot,
Mm-hmm.
less since I have had children. Before I read novels on the metro when I lived in Paris. But since living in Nantes, I drive to work And so I have changed the books for podcast and music.
That's not good for the planet, except if you drive an EV, but that's good
Yes.
for me as a podcast host.
Yes. So you are one of the podcast I'm listening. And
Thanks.
now I only read novels when I am on holiday, but I read a lot of scientific articles while at work.
That's funny because that's a debate among people. Like, do you read like not fiction books? To kind of
I
clear
read
your
a
mind
lot.
a bit, or yeah,
Yes,
or
yes.
I must admit that I read less and less fiction, and I'm more and more into non-fiction book. Not necessarily in the digital sustainability area, because I need to clear my mind a bit. But yeah, I don't know, history, sociology, etc. I find it harder and harder to read fiction book, except if they're kind of like Dune, like they're fiction book, but they're like a political strategy masterpiece or something like that.
Yes. But when I was teenager, I read a lot of fiction and anticipation fiction, but now it's more novel about society.
Yeah, well, me too. I must admit, me too. But how did you become interested in the sustainability of our digital sector? Sustainability in general and the sustainability of our digital sector in the first place?
Yes. It's very late because it's when I was pregnant. That was 12 years ago. As a precaution for my child, I started eating organic food, wearing organic clothes, and I said to myself, I must be more aware of his health. And I felt guilty about my children living in Paris with all the pollution. There was no garden, and furthermore, when they came back from vacation outside of Paris, within a few weeks, they lost their clear voices again. And I remembered my very, very happy childhood playing in the forest, big garden, because my parents are living in a wood.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading about pollution and climate change, and then we decided to move to Nantes in 2017. I continued to educate myself on ecology and looking for how I could support climate change. One day, a colleague she asked me to participate in a hackathon as a facilitator. And when I discovered the theme, it was IT for Green. I absolutely wanted to take part in it. And to prepare myself, it was in November 2018. I teach myself on digital technology and the digital pollution. And I discovered that digital was polluting a lot. Then, while digging, I read about the huge societal impact.
Okay, so you've got this kind of a haha moment. You realize that, sustainability, digital sustainability is an issue, which is not something that most of the people, they wake up one morning and say, oh, by the way, I should investigate what is the environmental footprint of our digital world. And how do you manage to connect this with your job at BPCE? Because you became someone very much involved in digital sustainability within the BPCE, but how did it all start?
Yes. So earlier, I spoke about the hackathon, and with my team, we won it by offering e-green, and we proposed the 3-for-a-win tool that would inform users of emails how polluting they are, a training module to raise awareness of the impacts of digital technology and share eco-friendly practices, and individual dashboard to monitor the reduction of its own impacts. And after this hackathon, I thought to obtain budget in my company in order to implement our proposal. Um, this company, it was in 2018. The name was IBP, and IBP was the software edition entity of the Banque Populaire. And I lead this project in conjunction with my work in entrepreneurship model. I don't know if in English
Yeah,
it's
entrepreneurship, absolutely.
yes. So I created an Outlook tool to inform users how much their emails will impact in the environment and how to decrease this impact. And I created also a training model. And at the same time, I began to communicate on the company's social media platform about digital impact. And in social media like LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter.
And all of this, you've done it as a side job. It was not yet your main mission. It was a side mission that you kind of self-allocated to yourself.
Yes, because I really wanted everyone understand that digital is a polluting activity.
Yeah, I understand. But no one prevented you to do so. You had no red light.
No.
Okay. And how did it accelerate it?
So in 2019, I followed a group's HR program, Leadership for Women. And this allows you to focus, among other things, on your professional project. So I have thought a lot about what I can do about sustainability in the digital sector and my job. And I wanted to be the contact person for sustainability of the company. And because I was so passionate about this subject, I kept on speaking to my director about having a team to work on sustainability in ITC. The first time he said that it would never be a priority in our company. But I came back. And in 2020, after the lockdown, when I questioned it again, he approved for me to prepare a file. So I began to study the market, and I discovered that ITCE, so it's the software edition entity of the Caisse d'Épargne, the other brand of our BPCE group.
So the red part, because you came from the blue part, and BPC is purple, huh? Okay.
yes, that. So ETCA seemed to be very advanced in sustainable IT. And I found a name, Philippe de Rouet, and I tried to call him. As he doesn't reply, he never replied me. I wrote to him, and he wrote me to contact Cécile Moget. Then I called her, and what a surprise! That was my aha moment. She said me, "Oh, IBP! I have been trying to contact IBP since several months."
That's interesting because yeah, like when you work in such a big group, actually you've got people working on the same topics, willing to work together, but not having a clue that actually the other exists. So that's very interesting.
Yes, we have a very big group, so there is a lot of company in my group. And Cécile was creating a sustainable digital team with the approval of the CTO, Laurent Benatar. I immediately wrote to 2 members of the managing board to inform them about the new team and above all that I really would like to apply for this position.
And this team, what was the output and outcome? What did you start actually, because you were part of this team? What did you start to achieve?
Yes. So firstly, we launched 2 actions. We educated ourselves by doing an online course and getting certified about sustainable IT. Our team members were people already very aware of the impacts of climate change, but everyone's knowledge was at different levels. Everyone in the team was very passionate about this project. We have partnered with a consulting firm specializing in CSR to order the level of our digital sustainability. And so we had an inventory of our strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. We didn't start from nothing because earlier I said that ITC was they worked about sustainable IT, but there was also Natixis, and it was two major establishments. They had already started work on this subject. So what was surprising was that even companies that did not have a dedicated business plan to sustainable IT had already worked on the related topics. So on this basis, we have created a strategic plan. And after, we worked on our first output for the employees. We reviewed the PowerPoint document template to lighten it. It's a shame on us, but before the weight was 3.5 megabits, so it was very too much. And we went from weighing it to 500 kilobits.
I must admit, Lucille, that when you told me that, I was amazed because I never considered PowerPoint template as being an issue. But obviously, when you work in such a big company with people using this template to create thousands and thousands of presentations, it makes total sense. But I was like, oh yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious, but actually I never thought about it. So thanks a lot. And I'm pretty sure that quite a lot of our listeners will have the same surprise that I did.
Yes, and we use it every day. So
I can believe you.
So, and we officially committed the group by signing the Sustainable Digital Charter of the INR. INR is the Institute for Sustainable IT. And the signature was carried out in October 2020 under the sponsorship of the Ministry of Ecological Transition. And we did a lot of lobbying to sell our team, and in particular to expand our team. And all this job was inside of our job.
Lucille, by expanding the team, do you mean expanding in terms of headcount, budget, or just raising more attention and people knowing that you exist?
All of that. Because
we want your attention, we want your money, and we want your people.
Yes.
Okay, join us.
Yes, all because
Okay.
we hadn't money when we began. It was always in like an entrepreneur project. I was always in a fusion migration of another big project, and Philippe was the only guy who can work. He was full time on this subject, but it was the only guy.
And what about this strategic plan? So you wrote it, and what did it become?
Yes. So we the direction validated our strategic plan that we proposed it, and the best news of our strategic plan was that it has been incorporated into the group's strategic plan. So it was very we were very surprising and very happy about that. And our sustainable IT strategic plan is divided into two parts. To decrease by 15% our IT carbon footprint by 2024 and to improve by 10% data center efficiency. And we have proposed 5 new projects as part of the strategic plan. Our first project being is change the life cycle of IT device and hardware. Our goal is to lengthen the life cycle between manufacture and end of product life. Second project, design a sustainability software program specifically for our projects. Third project, data center management, ensure the management and use of data is significantly more efficient. Fourth project, raise awareness and educate the staff. We are 100,000 employees in BPCE group, and so it is very important to educate everyone. And we will communicate about the best practices and benefits related to sustainability. And the fifth project, creating KPIs to ensure we are constantly improving and reaching our set milestones.
Well, that's quite interesting that you mentioned KPI because for all these 5 projects, and actually you already had measurable goals when you say decreasing by 15% the IT carbon footprint, for instance. But for these 5 projects, how did you measure success? What were the expected benefits of these different projects? And actually, did you manage to finish or actually even kickstart all of them?
No, they are all in progress.
Okay.
And the first success was to obtain a budget.
Yeah.
So we started without budget, and when we obtained it, it was easier. So now we are several people working full time in sustainable IT, and we received 3 awards in less than 1 year. In December 2021, we were laureate for the Sustainable Digital Trophy in the strategy of organizations category by INR. And it was under the sponsorship of Cédric O. And Cédric O was the ex-Secretary of State for Digital Transition. In June 2022, we were winners of the EcoCode Challenge. How green is your app? And it was to expand Sonar Cube. It's a quality tool with eco design rules. And in October 2022, we were co-laureates for Gold Standards in the trusted digitalization category. And it was for the 2201 AFNOR spec about eco-design of digital services. And I want to say that in general, institutions and organizations that adopt a sustainability approach will benefit big gains. It allows efficiency gains, cost savings, energy saving, extended lifetime of the units, and it permits reduction in staff turnover, greater customer satisfaction, increased motivation, improved quality, and enhanced the company image. So there is a lot of gains.
Yeah, very interesting benefits. And did you notice some of them in BPC, like the staff turnover reduced a bit, or did you see any improvement in the quality of the company brand?
Yes. So I said that we are in progress, and KPIs are not the project. The KPI project is not the project where we have a lot of data, and we construct. We are building this indicator, but we can see that people are very happy to work about sustainable IT. There is a lot of people who ask me to work on this project. So it's a quality KPI.
And talking about people, how did you manage the human side of your project? Because you started without budget, with people having somehow a daily job, and maybe their managers would let them have some bandwidth to work on digital sustainability, but that was not their main missions. So what was the relationship between the different stakeholders involved? And how did you manage to create obviously a positive momentum, because you've got the three prizes in less than 2 years?
So I work well with using collective intelligence. I think everyone has good ideas, and by having discussion with different people, we can think more systemically and be more innovative. So I think soft skills are the most important, and to be open-minded and transparent, kind and caring to the people and their ideas, to have strong values and ethics, inclusiveness, sense of community, and to be ecologically friendly. It's really easier to use this kind of collective intelligence. And ICT sustainability is a young sector, very young sector. And there is currently also Caroline Renaud, Birdeos founder. It is a recruitment agency specializing in CSR. She said there is currently a shortage of skills on the subjects of ecological and societal transition. And in BPC Group, we are very lucky because we have experts in our team. So our ambition is the upskilling of each employee, and many people join our team with no knowledge of the subject. But the most important fact is their motivation. If they want to make changes and contribute, it's the most important. It's our, and we consider that it's our role to develop their skills. And yes, and this is why we have chosen to build our team in-house with exhausting employees.
So that's a very important point, because that's a choice that very often big organizations they face. They don't necessarily have all the resources in-house. And you made the choice to upskill employees rather than hiring mercenaries or expert companies to fill the gap for several months, sometimes even several years. Why did you do that?
Because it's a digital transformation. So if you don't build, I think it's not a real digital transformation. You have to, employees have to learn, have to grow up about this kind of mind. If you ask external company like a consultancy company to drive and to do your digital transformation, it can't be a success. It can't succeed because the need is that your employees change their mind. So it's easier if they build this new kind of mind.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point.
And it was easier for us because we are very lucky to have a highly knowledgeable and experienced person in our team. Together with two expert companies, we don't do anything alone. So these two companies was Isia Group and Ideance. We have produced training modules that will support us in our training programs. and we have chosen them for their values and have established a trusting relationship with them. We are aware that we have learned together.
Hmm.
And there are a number of us from BPCE who work with AFNOR. So AFNOR is the French Standards Association, and SIGREF, the network of big French business and public administrations wishing to progress in digital technology. And we work with ADN West, and it's a network of digital professionals from Brittany and Pays de la Loire regions. And we work with INR, so the Institute for Sustainable IT.
So both upskilling employees, building in-house teams, but still relying a lot on the big networks. That makes total sense. And above this network of experts and other organizations, do you use specific tools, specific norms, etc., when you push the digital sustainability topic within the BPC?
Yes, yes. The foundation of our work are GR 4091, and it's the handbook of sustainable design of digital services published by the INR, and AFNOR spec to eco-design of digital services. And we used and are still using Microsoft 365 and Teams a lot. We use the files, the chat, and the video conferences. And uh, for the history, our team was created during the COVID-19 pandemic, and everything was created remotely between people located all over France: Paris, Orléans, Rennes, Aix-en-Provence, and Nantes. So
Remote from day one.
yes, so digital tools help us to build our team. And we also use the company's social network, newsletters, and existing meetings because we make a lot of internal conferences to explain the impact and the benefits of sustainable IT. So it's the lobbying I said before. And during our collaborative working group, we use Klaxoon. It is a startup from Rennes in the west of France who proposed this tool, and it is a suite of collaborative tools for efficient teamwork online. And we are creating EcoScore to monitor whether we are sustainable by design, above all to monitor the progress over.
So you build your own tool on top of existing tool. That's very interesting. And in general, knowing all this progress, and I hope that the listeners that did not have the opportunity, because I'm not going to say a chance, but to work in very big organization, I hope they really consider, that really realize the kind of amazing job that your team and yourself did, because you changed a lot of things within a very, very big corporation. The BPC is a very big bank. It's actually the result of a merger between two big banks with a very strong coupled culture. You've got Natixis on top of it. So that's really a nightmare, an organizational nightmare. And still you manage to connect people, you manage to launch these projects, you manage to win awards. So that's just to put things in perspective with people working who has only worked in a medium-sized company or startup. So what kind of advice would you give to someone willing the same as you did in significant company or very large company?
Yes. This my advice is not only for big company. I think it's for all. And firstly, never give up. Particularly when you believe in something and you consider that is the most important thing to do. And secondly, a lot of people ask me who can lead a sustainable digital sector. Is it this person is an IT manager or a CSR manager? And I think no one. It could be IT manager, it could be CSR manager, but for me, anyone can do my job. If you are satisfied that we have to be more sustainable, you can do my job. As surprising as it may seem, the BPCE program director isn't from IT or CSR department. She comes from financial control.
So that's a very important point, because what you're saying is that it's not a job, it's a role. And it's more a
Yes,
question of soft skills and being empowered enough with a strong mandate within your organization rather than having the job description. Okay.
yes, yes. You said that the most important is soft skills
Hmm.
because it is about a transformation. It also consists of a change of mentality and paradigm. I don't know. And we can learn CSR and IT and sustainable IT, but it's more difficult to learn the ability to explain, to display flexibility, and to negotiate with diplomacy. The last advice, but it's not the least, improve life duration of the device in your company because it is the best practice. The device that pollutes the least is the one that is not manufactured. So we really have to work about life duration. And there is a lot of best practices. You can use a protective cover against shock. You can save the battery life. You prefer smaller recharges to remain between 20 and 80% because it's better for the battery life, and never expose devices to very high or very low temperatures and in high humidity. And if you have to change your device, prefer second hand. If you need IT equipment, prefer buy refurbished devices rather than purchasing new ones.
And I can really concur, because living in a tropical island, unfortunately, both my smartphone and my laptop, they've got very hard time when the weather is hot and with a lot of humidity. So that's really something that we should pay attention to. Lucille, to be honest, beyond BPCE, you've got kind of a crazy life. You're also very active on different topics. If you had to pick one other engagement, something that you're involved beyond BPC, what would it be? And could you tell our listeners a bit more about it?
Yes, I'm very lucky because I really love my job, and I strongly recommend that people engage in association, in working groups, whether they are no, whether they are novice or expert, because I said before, but collective intelligence and the various discussions allow everyone to move forward and to build a common base for a more ethical and sustainable digital world. I am very active in three associations, INR, and I am in strategy direction to rethink digital technologies, to promote sustainable tech, and to produce useful tools for everyone. I think INR can play a leading role and act as a lobbyist in France and in Europe and maybe more. And ADN West, I am in the sustainable IT community to increase awareness regarding good practices. And I am in the famous, it's feminist association because I'm feminist since 2015. Before I wasn't. And in 2015, I followed an HR program, accompany talented women. And when my manager suggested me this program, I was very disappointed. And I asked him, why not accompany talented people only? And he said me it was a really, really good program, so I accept. And I was very happy. It was a good program because it permits me to realize gender inequalities and bias and bias in societies, a lot of stereotype. And I really want that everyone can know that.
And can I interrupt you here? Because do you see, I'm wondering, do you see, you're super active in this gender gap, in this issue of lack of parity in this in the IT sector. Do you see some kind of link between sustainability and gender inequality?
Yes, yes, because if you read the study of IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change, it is evident that people who are already most vulnerable and marginalized will also experience the greatest impacts. And the United Nations said women are increasingly being seen as more vulnerable than men to the impacts of climate change, mainly because they represent the majority of the world's poor and the difference between men and women can also be seen in their differential roles, responsibilities, decision making, access to land and natural resources, and access to opportunities and needs. And so I really think we 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 have to work about um, inequalities, gender inequalities, and climate change. There is a lot of relation.
And in tech, in more specific, that's 100% true, at least backed up by many studies. And in tech and regarding digital sustainability, do you see a link as well?
Yes, yes. In general, I don't know if you see, but in September this year, there is the new Imagreen and Kantar barometer published in September 2022. In private companies with 100 or more employees, 39% of employees feel a difference between their convictions on socio-ecological issues and the jobs they do and the activities of their company. And more people want to have meaningful work. So I think companies and governments will have no choice now, but they have to adopt this way of thinking. And I'm really sure that digital sustainability can attract key skills into an organization and keep them. We can see that mentality is now changing. There is more and more criticism of our consuming society, and studies have confirmed that dynamic is led mostly by human and the more educated people. So, unfortunately, the digital industry has only 15% of women in technical and engineering profiles, and already relatively absent. Many won't stay because I don't know if you know, but 1 in 2 women leaves the tech after 8 years of work. And there are various reasons: glass ceiling, negative balance between professional and private life, toxicity, abuse, and bro culture, and unequal pay. And I really think that gender equality in tech and digital sector is a very big challenge. And I'm sure digital sustainability can serve to attract women and to retain them. So earlier I spoke about women were victims of climate change, but I think we can also be seen as active and effective agents and promoters of adaptation and mitigation. And I'm very proud because in BPC Group, our sustainable digital management team is primarily composed of women. We are 6 women out of 8. So it means 75% are women, and it's quite rare.
Yeah, it is. And truth is, it's not that rare in the sustainability field, in CSR, etc., etc. I tend to meet more women than men. So that's a good news because it can offset a bit, as you say, the imbalance between gender imbalance that you have in the tech sector. That's taking an even further step back. And talking more about the evolution of digital sustainability in general, what is the trend that you witnessed recently? And could you share with us if you're rather positive or negative regarding greening, even if I know that you don't really like this word, but greening our digital world or reducing the environmental footprint of the ICT sector, to be more precise?
I'm optimistic because I I think that if we explain all of these negative impacts, people can change because we don't think about that. We only see the positive impact of the digital tools, but we have to think that they are tools only, and we can choose what kind of world we want thanks this tool. And I really think we live in a time of big change, and it could be very stressful because of disastrous effect I said before. But at the same time, I think it is very exciting and interesting. We have to build a new world. We have to rethink our lifestyles, our infrastructures, our ways of thinking, because we have to be more ethical, more equity, more inclusive, and more aware.
If you had to pick only two references, whether it's a book, a podcast, a study, etc., that you would like to share with the listeners in English, what would it be? And I have to tell my listeners first that when we prepared this episode, Lucille gave me one of the most comprehensive list of resources I've ever seen. Most of them are in French, so I will put all of them in the show notes. The episode notes will be pretty full this time. Actually, it is filled quite a lot for each episode, but this time it's pretty crazy. But what would be your top two?
I really recommend the Digital College or the Digital Fresco because it's a very, very amazing tool to understand the impact. And I recommend Sustainable IT MOOC by INR. They are in English and in French. And I recommend the different tools proposed by INR in English. There is My Impact, Sustainable IT Services Design Handbook, and the Directory of Sustainable IT Expert. There is a list of English tools that are available on the website. And I recommend to see The Social Dilemma. It's a documentary investigation about social media, and it shows how social media is designed, regulated, and used, and so they could impact individual and collective uh, uh, consequences and its growing dependence. And so this movie, this investigation is good because it's not about environmental impact, but the social impact.
Okay, thanks a lot for all those references, your top 3, and actually all the others that I will put in the show notes. Thanks a lot. I hope that a lot of listeners, especially those working in big organizations, they will find inspiration following your example. You're pretty easy to reach via LinkedIn, so I guess if someone they want to share tips, especially a woman willing to get empowered a bit, your door will be open. Am I right?
Yes.
I've already noticed it, so that was a very safe bait. So thanks a lot, Lucille, for being on the show. That was super enlightening, kind of a time travel a bit for me when I used to work with, not in, but with big banks and big corporations. So I really appreciate all the job that you've done in BPC and beyond. So thanks a lot. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. And that's it.
Thank you, Gaël.